Um, Hi, good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very excited to be here today to talk about the market potential in China's beauty industry. Everybody is talking about China nowadays, thanks to its large population and fast economy development, which has helped to driven value growth of almost all industries. Beauty and personal care, without exception, has experienced dramatic transformation and value growth over the past few years. But how much more potential is there left to be explored? Where the value sales will be generated from, and what challenges, what future prospects is there, and what challenges companies may face in your business development there. I hope today's presentation will help to answer those questions and help your strategy planning for the future. Time is short, so I'll be very happy to answer your questions at the end. But if I do get pressed by time, come to me afterwards. I'll be more than happy to help you as much as I can. Right. Just before I start, a quick introduction about Euromonitor. As some of you may know, that we're a global business intelligence firm headquartered in London and with offices in 9 other major markets around the world. We provide consumer-focused syndicated market research as well as ad hoc research projects accustomed to our clients' specific requirements. Above listed here are some basic information about our research capacity and the services we offer. Today's presentation will obviously focus on beauty and personal care industry, in which the sectors that we research are listed here on the left column. All our data represent 100% retail channel, which would include independents, direct sellers, as well as internet retailing. All the values used in today's presentation are in US dollar terms using a fixed 2010 exchange rate, and forecast data are in constant terms, discounting the inflationary effect, which is hard to predict. So today's agenda would include this. We'll take a look at the importance of China's beauty industry to the global market, and what are the market dynamics behind its strong performance in the country. And then we'll take a look at the changing consumer trends and manufacturers' responding activities in the market, as well as the channel performance, before we move on to conclude this presentation by looking at the country's future prospects and the challenges ahead. The global beauty industry overview has experienced a strong rebound in 2010. Back to 5% value growth, and with total market size stood at $382 billion last year. While the mass market was the most representative of this 5% value growth, it was the revival of the premium range, premium cosmetics, that has been the most remarkable. It has leaped well into the positive territory after a steep decline in 2009, as you can see here in the light blue color. This is due to manufacturers' continued product developments in the premium range and a number of high-profile acquisitions involved in the premium and professional lines in the industry. So China is the 4th largest beauty market, behind US, Japan, and Brazil. The country underwent rapid transformation and experienced fast value growth in beauty industry over the past 5 years. However, if we look, well, the total value size for China's beauty and personal care industry stood at about, I think, $24 billion in 2010, which is quite big. And over the past 5 years, it has added nearly $10 billion absolute value growth to the market. Despite we're looking at the big numbers of 24 billion, the per capita spending in China's beauty care in products are very low at about $18, according to our research, which is very low as compared to the average of the developed markets, such as US, Japan, and even when you compare it to Brazil. So despite the huge advances that we have witnessed over the past 5 or 10 years in China, in China's beauty industry, the market is still at a very low level of development and is far from saturation. So now let's take a look at the market dynamic that's been behind the country's strong performance over the past 5 years. Needless to say, China has a large population consumer base. Its population of 1.3 billion will look to exceed 1.4 billion by the year of 2020 under the current government's policy. However, bearing in mind that Chinese government is looking to soften its one-child policy, as many of you may know, so the population growth rate may be back into its accelerator over the future next few years. GDP in China has surpassed Japan to become the second largest economy last year, as you may know. And this rapid economy development has significantly increased consumers' living standards by putting more disposable incomes into each household. Per household income in China stood at over $8,000 in 2010, which is nearly 4 times the per household had just only 5 years ago. The number of middle-class households has never been expanding so fast like today. According to Euromonitor's Countries and Consumers database, that there are 153 million households having disposable income of between $5,000 and $15,000 in 2010, and that number is more than triple the household it had about 10 years ago. China is a nation known for its people's frugality. People like to save money. About 36% of their disposable income were saved in 2010. However, according to our research, the rate is going to decline as people spend more money as their income rises. As the disposable income rises, the spending pattern changes. Families and the expanding middle-class households tend to buy more discretionary and small luxury items, which has driven the positive growth of the premium products in the country. And indeed, premium cosmetics in China has reached over $3.5 billion in 2010 and growing much faster a pace as compared to the mass market, as you can see here, as highlighted in the orange color. This is a knock-on effect of the growing in wealth of the population and the swelling of the middle class. China's middle class people are unusually young as compared to those in the developed countries, which the wealthiest consumers tend to be middle-aged. In China, well-paid jobs often require higher level of education and training than the older generations have obtained, which means the wealthiest consumers in China are between 25 and 44 years old instead of 45 to 50 years old as seen in the US, for example. This group of consumers demand a better shopping experience and a higher product quality. They are more often more brand conscious and less price sensitive. So how did the China's beauty industry perform by each category? This chart here shows you the value sales and the growth rates for each category we research. As you can see, the skincare, maybe I could use the pointer here. Right. It accounts to the lion's share of China's beauty industry, account for about 40% of the total beauty market. The men's grooming is the most dynamic, although from a very small base, thanks to the changing attitudes towards personal care by men in the country. Baby care as well is worth noting, is performing very strongly thanks to the Chinese one-child policy, which has encouraged the new generation of Chinese parents to becoming more generous and comfortable and confident in buying the baby care products for their only child in the family. For Chinese consumers, when it comes to baby care products, anything that they could spend on their child, they never penny pinching. More often, they would opt for the most expensive product on the market due to the strong association of price with quality. Right, in terms of the regional performance, as you may see, that the wealthier regions along the east coastlines, including East China, Northeast China, and South China, contribute to the majority of the country's beauty sales in 2010, combined at about 72%. Per capita spending in these regions are much higher at around $25 when you compare to the interior land of China, of mid and northwest and southwest China, where the per capita spending is much lower. Limited disposable income, restricted product information, product awareness, and the less established distribution networks are the main factors hindering value sales growth in the inland of China. Here, just a quick look at the competitive landscape in China's beauty industry. As you may see, China's beauty and personal care market is led by international players, thanks to their superior marketing ability and finest supply chains. Local brands and players have been no match in terms of their product awareness and their coverage. Shanghai Jiahua is the largest domestic player in the country, however, ranked only 10th, with only less than 2% value shares in 2010. Now, let's move on to have a look at the changing consumer trends in China, as the changing consumer perceptions and attitudes towards beauty and personal care would affect which products would perform well or not well. So at Euromonitor, we have observed 3 key consumer trends in China's beauty industry, as the consumer's perception towards beauty care shifting from being seen as a luxury to daily necessity. The increasing number of women joining the working army has made them a strong shopping force for beauty and personal care products. More interestingly, there's uprising trend of a group of consumers that tend to concentrate their spending thought to best maximize utility by sacrificing spending on other areas, is becoming more popular among the Chinese urbanites. Examples of this would include a young professional climbing up the social ladder would spend all of his or her disposable income on the latest designer clothes or premium beauty products at the expenses of their food essentials. This trend is going to positively impact the future prospect for the premium products, premium beauty products in the future, as this group of consumers, even when they are at the lower spectrum of the disposable income level, could match the spending power of the more affluent consumers if they decided to spend money on the beauty products. So when it comes to beauty and personal care, beauty and personal care products, what does consumers want? Here I have a list. They want the products that can be trusted for quality. They want the products that can offer them the desired, the matching looks for their desired status and identity. They want the products that can provide them the competitive edge on both their social and professional life. They also want products that are both human and environmental friendly. Last but not the least, they want products that can help them achieve the goal of looking good, but even when the external environment refuses to let them do so. So what did manufacturers do? They created multi-million or billion-dollar brands for the consumers to choose in China. Here, this chart of the top 10 leading brands in China's beauty market illustrates how much value and trust consumers have put into the international brands. Among all, the skincare products features highly as it is perceived as the most technologically advanced and can target demands for anti-agers. And local and international brands have also adapted to the local needs by offering various ingredients in targeting at whitening features. Despite the dominance of the international players in China, there are a number of local players that have significantly increased their value shares over our review period. Here is a chart showing the leading local players' value shares in 2010 as compared to 2005. Local players in China's beauty market often market the mass and lower end of beauty products, which are mostly present in the second or smaller cities, second tier or third tier, smaller cities and towns. But recently, we have observed a concerted effort in promoting the historical heritage of Chinese brands by local players. Have a couple of examples here. Here at the lower end, we're seeing Xie Fu Chun, which is reputed the oldest beauty brand in China and used exclusively by the royal families, was reintroduced into the market by Yangzhou Xie Fu Chun Company. And in contrast, the Shanghai Jiahua is the leading local players have reintroduced its Shanghai Vive brand, however targeting at the higher end of the market. So male population in China accounts for more than half of the total population. In order to target this group of consumers, manufacturers have expanded the traditional men's grooming products from simply razors and blades to a full range in which we have witnessed the skincare and hair care experienced the most dramatic growth over the past 5 years. China is a nation known for its long practicing of traditional Chinese medicine. Thanks to this position, beauty products using natural herbs as ingredients are becoming increasingly appealing to consumers of all age. In these aspects, local players have actually played a stronger card than the international players, as they promoted the better knowledge on the herbal benefits and emphasized the local ingredients. Here I have an example of Herbalist by Shanghai Jiahua and the InnoHerb by Shanghai InnoHerb Cosmetics. Both brands have experienced very strong growth and with the compounded annual growth rates of about 40% and 60% respectively between 2005 and 2010. Local player success in the naturally positioned products have attracted attention from international players, of course. And we're seeing P&G, for example, are reinforced its top-selling brand Rejoice in China by introducing a line of traditional Chinese medicine positioned products, as an example here. Traditional Chinese medicine works on the principle that human body is an organic entity whose external appearance would reflect what is going on from inside. So when the modern society is increasingly making it difficult for consumers to achieve a balanced diet, proper exercise, and as well as good sleep, which are considered essential for beautifying our skins, Chinese consumers quickly accepted beauty supplements that manufacturers introduced. In fact, China is the world's second largest beauty supplement consumption country after Japan in 2010. Consumers have spent over $800 million on beauty supplements, which is more than 50% growth than the spending about 5 years ago. In this field, again, local players have outperformed international multinational companies, as 8 out of the top 10 companies are the local firms in China's dietary supplements market. However, we are seeing more international companies heading down this route. For example, Fanco, I have here, a Japanese manufacturer of cosmetics and beauty supplements, is one of these international companies spearheaded in this field. The company entered China in 2005, and by 2010, the sales in China is the second largest behind its home market, Japan. This year, we will see L'Oreal and its Nestle's joint venture entity introduced its INF beauty supplement brand in China. And over the next few years, we will see more international players go down this route, and competition will subsequently intensify. Now let's move on to have a look at the channel performance in China's beauty industry and how the revolutionary digital technology is reshaping the distribution in China's beauty market. Here I have a chart of the value shares of the channels for beauty products in 2010 as compared to 2005. Supermarkets and hypermarkets withheld their strong position thanks to its extensive range of mass products, as well as its wide geographic presence in the country. However, while the department stores, as highlighted in the yellow color here, is the main distribution channel for branded, especially the high-end beauty products, we are seeing more new distribution formats growing their popularity, such as the beauty specialists, retailers in the light blue color, and pharmacies, parapharmacies, drugstores in the purple color. While in the non-store format, direct selling is notably popular in China, as you may know. It is worth noting the rapid development of the internet selling in China, which has grown from less than 1% in 2005 to more than 3% by 2010. We may come to a little bit of details about this a little bit later. According to Euromonitor's countries and consumers database, the internet users in China stand at 490 million in 2010, which is officially the highest globally, and is looking to reach over 700 million by 2020. That is 2.5 times the internet users will have in the US by then. the internet penetration in China, the broadband internet penetration in China stands at near 90%, and this figure is looking to increase further as Chinese government is looking to push through the internet penetration in the rural areas. So thanks to the internet boom, which has made profound changes to to consumers' lifestyles by creating these 24/7 connected consumers who are shifting away from the traditional formats of media, such as magazines or televisions, as the growing popularity of social media, blogging, and video posting, as some of you may call it vlogging, becoming more appealing to them. So here I have a list of the key digital formats that we have observed in today's beauty industry in the marketing. As manufacturers, intend to reach wider consumer base and create a better awareness about their brands and products. And now we take a look at some examples quickly. Most large companies have established sophisticated websites so that consumers can obtain detailed information about their brands and products. However, increasing the presence in the popular social websites is also helping the company to reach the target consumers faster and more accurately. However, different from the Western world, where the Facebook, for example, is the most popular social media websites, in China there's a number of similar websites that consumers use. For example, led by Renrenwang here, and some other examples include Kaixin.com as well. It's really popular. This is making it difficult for manufacturers to tackle every website and make presence there. Online stores, online shopping in the form of the company's own stores, e-stores, as well as through the third-party shopping websites is also increasing. Previously mentioned the dramatic development of the internet retailing in China's beauty industry is largely due to the launch of Tmall by Taobao.com in 2010. To tackle the issue of counterfeit products, especially the high-end, which also include the beauty brands, Taobao.com has launched the Tmall, which allows manufacturers to sell genuine products directly to consumers. Here are some examples of the notable beauty brands have made their presence on Tmall as soon as it was launched. In addition to the fake products, logistics is also another big headache for companies conducting e-commerce in China. For example, at Chinese New Year, which is the busiest season for online shopping, most workers would go home, so there's no one to deliver any products. Beauty blogging, or say blogging generally, and video posting is becoming a very increasing trend, very important trend actually, as consumers are shifting away from the traditional formats of magazines and televisions, which are much more expensive for manufacturers or companies to do anyway. And the social media and internet technology is costing the companies much less, while at the same time are much more efficient in targeting the desired consumers. Alongside the rising internet is the m-commerce. According to Euromonitor's countries and consumers database, that the mobile subscriptions in China is also the highest globally in 2010 at 839 million, and this number is looking to grow to over 1.3 billion by the year of 2020. And according to daily people online, I think that's the name of the websites. There are about 288 million consumers have used their mobile phones to access internet contents by the end of 2010 in China. So after we have talked about the current industry status in China's beauty markets and the changing consumer trends, as well as the distribution formats, what does the future hold for China's beauty industry? Here is a map of the global growth potential in beauty and personal care industry, estimated by Euromonitor. The darker the color, the faster the growth. Again, China is one of the most valuable market over the next 5 years, as it looks to generate more than $10 billion of value sales as well, which would account for 1/5 of the global beauty industry's absolute value growth. In terms of the regional prospects, the wealthier east coastlines of regions, as mentioned earlier, North and Northeast, East and South China will continue to contribute the largest revenue growth over the forecast period, while the inland of North and West will remain fairly restrained. However, the competition in the wealthier East coastlines regions will get intensify, and going west is a big trend for manufacturers and companies. Building hubs around second or third tier cities such as Chengdu, Xi'an, Wuhan would help to create better products and brand awareness, and then drive consumer spending in the interior of China. While some manufacturers have penetrated the inland China through acquiring local brands and companies, others have done so by diversifying their distribution channels and offer more catered products to cater to the inland market. Examples of this would include Shiseido's launch of DQ brand. I'm not sure if anybody, maybe some of you may be aware that they've launched this DQ brand in the drugstore chains in the interior of China. Shiseido is a company marketing premium beauty products in China. Probably 90% of their products are premium positioned in China. But DQ brand is targeted at the middle end of consumers at a lower price point. And also, there's an emergence of the high-end supermarkets in the interior of China, which could offer opportunities for the premium brands in the near future. So, overall, China's beauty and personal care industry's potential is yet to be fully unleashed. And the previously mentioned key trends will continue to drive its value growth over the next 5 years. Just before we get too excited about the big numbers that I've just mentioned, we can take a step back and look at the challenges that we may face. This would help companies to make a wiser decisions in terms of when and how best to get the most out of China's beauty industry. And that's my end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions. Thank you. We still have time for presentation, for questions, right? Yes.
Social media obviously is a very new and effective tactic that people are engaging in, but privacy, collection of data is such a huge issue. We experience that all over the world, and I know in China it's even more pronounced. Do you see any sort of relaxation, or do you have a perspective from a government perspective? Are they addressing this? Do you see that lightening up at any time in the future?
Thank you for your question. It's a really good question. And the answer is yes, definitely. Chinese government is endeavoring to tackle the issue, which is, notable in the world about the regulations of advertising. And for internet, it's very hard for companies to control. I may should have mentioned in my presentation because there's a lot of amount of contents about brands and products that manufacturers are unable to control. We will see a Chinese government clamping down this because as the country, the government is encouraging more trade with the international companies, because that's where it takes the most share and generate the most business. So we have seen, this is not official, but just to let you know that we have seen companies restricting the internet contents of sharing and presenting, which isn't up to the standard. There isn't a currently there isn't any already defined regulations about that yet, but governments will work to achieve it and try to match the standard with what we can see in the other world, other countries in the world.
Any further questions? No.
Okay. If you have any further questions, just find me afterwards. Thank you very much.